Archbishop, what did the oil industry teach you about running the Anglican Church?
I often ask that question of myself, if I'm really honest. I think obviously there's elements of management stuff, but that wasn't the key thing. It was mixing with so many people in so many parts of the world. And I think one of the main things in the last company I worked for was an extraordinary sense of teamwork and the ability of the chief executive at the time to build a team.
What do you want to do with the Anglican Church?
Well, it's not entirely up to me. We don't operate on a papal system. Lambeth has influence but no authority. There's almost nobody I can order around, and that's a very, very good thing. I think what I can do is have emphases, and the key emphases I have are around prayer and the renewal of prayer, reconciliation. The church is a centre for reconciliation as well as reconciliation within itself, and a confidence in telling other people the good news of Jesus Christ.
Where are you, for example, given that the Pope has declared that he wants his church to be poor and on the side of the poor? Are you on the side of the poor?
I think you'll find that together with the Roman Catholic Church across the world, the Anglicans and the Church of England have been on the side of the poor and with the poor for their whole existence. The Pope's homily on Tuesday was hugely inspiring in his very clear declaration of the Church's role among the poor.
You speak very globally about the Church, and that's obviously understandable because that is your job, and that in some ways is your mission. But nevertheless, you are looked to domestically. You're looked to as a moral authority, and the poor are hurting in this country. And you have spoken out on the benefits front. Will we hear more of this?
The Church is always involved in the life of the country at every level, and therefore in one sense in political life, but it is never party political. Yes, we spoke out very clearly on the benefit system. Many of us feel that what's being done in reforming the benefit system is a good thing. Most parish clergy with any number of children will have experience of the benefit system. And so we do have personal understanding as well as working with people who are deeply involved in that.
Well, you stress the good thing there. You stress the good thing, but you're also concerned about the things which you think are damaging the community.
Yes, policy has two levels. There's the general policy of reform, and there's also how it's applied in a time of immense financial stringency when the government, as we know from the budget, is really struggling to get costs down and to control public borrowing. Now that makes for some very, very hard choices, and the Church will be committed to stressing the effect of those choices on the most vulnerable in society.
Do you think that the message of the Church has become confused with all sorts of other moral issues which in direct terms don't really affect the welfare of the poor? The whole debate about sex, the question of whether women should be bishops. These are the things that people seem to read about and talk about when it comes to the Anglican Church, rather than the issues that you've already raised about bankers and about benefits.
At a national level, that's unquestionably true. There's been an awful lot of focus on these big issues around sexuality, around the ordination of women as bishops. But again, the Church is much more at the local level than at the national level, and at that level, it's not really, with most churches, a very big issue. What they worry about is how they continue to operate and to serve their communities locally. At the national level, these are issues we've got to deal with.
We're a multicultural, multi-faith country. Is it right for the Anglican Church still to be part and parcel with the state?
We have to ask ourselves always questions about this, and establishments change through the last 500 years continually in the context. I think personally that it would be a great loss to the state to lose the spiritual aspect of the Church having a role within the life of the state. It diminishes our view of what a human being is if it doesn't include spirituality.
Where do you think morality is now in business and in the city and in banking and the rest of it? Are we out of the woods? We've been through a very, very dark chapter in which greed and many other very nasty aspects of human behaviour have visited themselves on the capitalist system.
There is a cultural change happening in the banking world. It's difficult in some cases, but it is genuinely happening.
Morality is creeping into the boardroom?
I think there's a sense that they've gone too far and that change is needed. I mean, you're seeing that in Barclays, they've come out with it very heavily, and others. There's a lot further to go. I think the big question is, what do you base it on? Do you base it on some kind of code, which I'm always a little skeptical about, or do you base it on the culture of the banks, or of a business, or of a church? The culture is what drives people, and founding that culture in, I would say, in faith, in clear, objective standards of right and wrong is the only way that you protect yourself against slipping.
What's your ambition?
I think my ambition is to see, to be able to be a catalyst and enable the church to come together more effectively. I'm not, as I say, we're not papal. I don't come in and say I've got all the answers. That would be completely false. It's to be faithful to Jesus Christ, to tell people about Jesus Christ, and to be part of a church that is convincing in its portrayal of what Christian faith is about.
Archbishop Welby, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.